All right, we have some breaking news right now on ABC News Live. Reports a guilty verdict is in for Lori Daybell. An Arizona jury has just reached the verdict. It was just read in court. Of course, this is just the latest trial for Lori Daybell, the so-called doomsday mother convicted of murdering her 2 young children because they were possessed zombies. She's already serving a life sentence in that case. She was now accused and now convicted of conspiring with her brother to kill her 4th husband for insurance money. Again, the guilty verdict was just read in that Maricopa County courtroom. She decided to represent herself in this case. She also called no witnesses to the stand during this trial. I want to bring in ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer and ABC's Alex Stone for more on this. So, Alex, let's start here with you. Again, this jury deliberated for just a short time here before they came to this guilty verdict on a well-known case with a well-known woman here. It all played out there in Arizona this time.
Yeah, and right now the jury is being polled by the judge asking, is this your verdict? Did you come out with a guilty verdict? Do you agree with it? All of the jurors are saying yes. This was delayed a little bit as they were bringing in witnesses to talk about aggravating factors, the next stage going into sentencing, that it appears that they're going to begin doing that if they decide to move forward almost right away. She could be looking at least 25 years in prison in Arizona, but no matter what, she is always going to be going back to Idaho, where she's serving multiple life terms for the murders of her 2 children and for the wife of her 5th husband, conspiracy in the murder of the wife there. So even if she had been found not guilty, she would have spent the rest of her life in prison, would have gone back to Idaho. But this is now a guilty verdict of at least 25 years in Arizona. And now they will move into sentencing. Looks like it's going to get going pretty quickly.
And we'll try to listen in when we can. We're on a bit of a delay here with the courtroom. You just saw some people there walking in. As Alex mentioned, there were conversations about potentially aggravating circumstances and what might happen next here. But Brian, I do want to bring you in here because also, as Alex mentioned here, her husband, Chad Daybell, who has now been sentenced to death in Idaho for the murders of her 2 young children as well as his ex-wife. She married Chad Daybell 4 months after this shooting of her other husband, and Brian, prosecutors allege they did it for the insurance money, and clearly the jury agrees.
Yeah, I mean, all of the facts that were presented here by the prosecution were not rebutted in any way, shape, or form, at least in the eyes of the jury with this unanimous decision of guilt, that the murder and conspiracy to commit murder between Alex Cox and Lori Vallow Daybell was for the purpose of insurance. And even the prosecution hammered that theory home by playing audio of Lori Vallow Daybell attempting to call her husband's insurance company and finding out that she was no longer the beneficiary. Between conversations, the means and mode of the murder, the 2 shots to Alex is sorry, not to Alex, but to Charles Vallow's chest, as well as that bit of information of looking for money, proved this case to the jury.
Right. She was, Lori Daybell was trying to argue this was self-defense. She went on to call it a tragic family event in her argument, Brian, that only lasted about 20 minutes. And again, a reminder here to those that are watching, she's already serving life sentences in Idaho. This is a case in Arizona. We'll be waiting to hear what the full sentence is here, Brian. But the decision to represent herself in this case, and in doing that, the decision also to call 0 witnesses to the stand. What do you make of that?
Yeah, so I think I've said it once, I'll say it again. There's an old adage that attorneys say, the person who represents themselves has a fool for a client. And I think that's kind of what happened here. And not to say that Lori Vallow couldn't make the points that she wanted or knew the facts probably better than anyone else. But there's one thing about knowing the law, another about how to implement it and how to get evidence in that's very difficult for a person who doesn't understand the language or the procedures of the court. And then in terms of getting witnesses in, I don't discredit her for any reason and with that, but there's one thing of trying to get people to come and testify for you. There's another thing of actually making it happen. Filing subpoenas, getting them out there, having people adhere to them so they can testify. That didn't happen here, obviously.
Right, the actual logistics of it all for a woman who has no legal background to do that in representing herself. She was also asking the judge what this, what these aggravating circumstances could possibly be. I do want to take a moment here because we can now actually play you the guilty verdict being read in that courtroom. So let's take a listen.
In the Superior Court of the State of Arizona and in for the County of Maricopa. State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001704-001, verdict count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action, upon our oaths, do find the defendant, Lori Daybell, as to the crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
On the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Juror number 1, is this your true verdict?
Yes.
Juror number 2, is this your true verdict?
All right, so you were just listening there to the guilty verdict being read to Lori Daybell, who again is already serving multiple life sentences. She has now been convicted of what prosecutors say was a ploy to kill her fourth husband to collect on his insurance policy. All right, you're watching ABC News Live reports, and ABC News Live Prime with Linsey Davis is straight ahead. Thanks for joining us.